Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sleep Matters podcast from Dreams. Everything you need to know about how to get a great night's sleep and why it matters so much. I'm Dr Pixie McKenna, and in this episode, we are chatting about technology. I'm joined by Jack Greer, and Jack is a technology journalist with the Daily Telegraph, and he has a specific interest in how tech might help to get us to sleep. And on my other side, I have Gary Lancaster. And for the last couple of weeks, Gary has actually been using some tech to help him to get to sleep. So you've been using the Dream Sleep Tech. So we're going to hear from you as to how that's going. You're going to tell us all about it.
Okay.
But first of all, I suppose, guys, how did you sleep last night? How do you normally sleep, Jack?
So I have a lot of things in my bed. I kind of testing out sleep tech quite a lot.
Okay, right. I was getting a bit worried there as to where this was going.
Yeah, so I'm currently testing a body pillow, which is a lot of fun. Apparently that's supposed to keep your spine aligned. I don't know whether pillows really count as tech. Some people say they do, some people say they don't. But I don't know. I wear a watch, a smartwatch that tracks my sleep. So that's one of the things that I do to kind of keep up to date with my sleep. And then I've done all sorts. I've done headphones that help sort of sing you to sleep. I have smart lights in my room that help. What's the right way of saying this? They mimic sunrise and sunset in the morning, which helps your brain to adjust. So yeah, I've kind of done all sorts, but yeah. But
the tech is like for a tech moron like me. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can use a smartwatch for calories and steps, you can use it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all designed to be as simple as possible, because the last thing you want when you're getting into bed is a big complicated machine that's going to stress you out and panic you.
And tracking it, do you find that, tracking your sleep, has that made you a bit more cognizant about the quantity and the quality of sleep that you're getting? Is it different? Is sort of the outcome of that different to what you would have thought?
Yeah, definitely. So one thing that I always stress about, and this probably doesn't actually help me get to sleep, is that I get so little deep sleep. If you the app that I use breaks sleep down into REM, light sleep, and deep sleep, and yeah, I think you're supposed to get something like 20% of your sleep is deep sleep, and I generally tend to get like 10%. I'll get like maybe 50 minutes to an hour of deep sleep every night, which is not good. So I need to improve that, but I don't really know how.
Maybe it's because of all the tech that you use during the day.
Well, I mean, maybe they do say that blue light in your mobile phone is bad for your sleep. Blue light is definitely has had its impacts researched, and so you find in a lot of modern smartphones, including the one that I use, they have a filter that you can turn on at say 9 o'clock if you're going to bed at 11 o'clock like I do. And that will kind of turn the screen sort of yellowy, which is apparently better for the melatonin in your brain. And
Gary, how have you got on with your device? Has it been helpful? Has it been a hindrance? Has it sent you to sleep or sent you around the bend? Tell me all about it.
It's a tracking device, so there's no actual benefit from the device itself other than information. So it's been very interesting. As someone that has previously not necessarily worried too much about the fact I've been a bad sleeper, to really put my mind to this and have some information in front of me to go, oh, that's interesting. I'm not getting enough sleep. I am going to bed too late. The room is very hot at night, which things you don't necessarily think about. It's been very, very interesting indeed. So there's some data which we may look at, I suppose, which will talk us through this.
So Gary, you've got a device that you literally get into bed with, is that right?
Correct. It's called the Sleep Pal Plus. It's a sleep tracker, and it comes in the form of a belt, which goes underneath the sheet, but on top of the mattress.
Okay.
You affix a magnetic strip, which will then engage the device. You get out your mobile phone with your blue light filter on, and you connect to it via Bluetooth. Really easy. And from there, you then simply go to bed. You lay on top of it, and of course, the contact that you make onto it through the sheet enables it to track various things, including heartbeat, breathing rate, and loads of things really. But it also does room temperature, and humidity and other things. So it can give you a real big picture as to what's going on when you're zoned out.
So have you heard of these, I'm sure you have, you're a tech man, you've obviously heard of this type of thing before.
Yeah. And I think they're actually pretty cool, and they're good because I think that I don't think this is the case. They are non-invasive, so once you've set it up, once you put it in your bed, done. And you don't have to put something on or strap something to your wrist. You can just go to sleep as you would normally. So I think that's a huge benefit, because so much sleep tech is, as I mentioned with the headsets that I said before, is kind of fiddly, and you're kind of having to do brain action. That's a bad way of phrasing this.
No, I know you have. Yeah, it requires you to do something, and actually when you're getting into bed at night, the last thing you want to do is have to do something. You just want to get into bed and go to sleep.
And you need to be able to relax to get your brain to switch off. So yeah, I think non-invasive sleep tech is very cool and very interesting. And I think as well, when you have things like the one that you've been using with it going across the bed, you can get a lot of metrics that I couldn't get on my smartwatch, for example. Like you can see how much you're like rolling around, and some of them even tell you how much you've like snored. So tell me about it. What did you learn about yourself? What was the was it easy? Presumably it was easy enough. It sounds like it was pretty straightforward.
Absolutely
Put it on the bed. Yeah.
Yep, super easy. Out of the box and installed within probably 10 minutes.
Okay.
And there's an app which you download from the App Store, and from there you simply connect to the device via Bluetooth, and then you've got a dashboard basically which you can set up. You've got to start it before you go to sleep, of course. It doesn't know that you've gone to bed. You have to tell it. Obviously, you could be laying on the bed watching TV, and that's no good. So, actually,
but you won't be lying on the bed watching TV, will you? Because you know that's going to have an impact on your future sleep that night.
Mean, indeed, now, absolutely right.
Now you know.
Yeah, the bed to sleep. That's right.
So, tell me about it. What have you? So, this is week 2, is it?
Well, it's week 1.5. Yeah.
Okay. So, so far? What have you learned? What has been a surprise, or what's been?
I think it's worth noting that before going into this experiment, I actually had a quite gung ho attitude to it. It was almost a badge of pride to go, I don't sleep great, fantastic, who cares?
Yeah. You're a legend. How many hours a night? Right,
not a lot. I was going to bed at my peak bad sleep. I was going to bed probably at 2 and needing to be at work for 9:30. So, and that was for quite a few years, but that's kind of part and parcel with my industry of choice. So, sadly, sleep is not something which is given too much thought about. It's the music business. So,
yeah, okay, so you're...
office in the day and shows at night.
Right,
so that has brought me to a place where I'm now really feeling too old to be going out all the time, and I try not to, but still not having a particularly good understanding of why sleep's important. I just haven't worried about it. So going into this was really interesting, actually going, wow, seeing this data and saying, crikey, this is not healthy. My sleep pattern is bad. The quality of my sleep is bad, and I'm really not doing myself any favours by allowing that to carry on.
Okay, so what kind of things have you, in terms of, have you got sort of some info? Can we have a little look?
Yeah, okay. So we're going to get the app open now, and we'll have a look. So it really is as simple as loading it up.
I was going to ask you, actually, where do you put your phone at night when you're...
So my phone's on charge on the bedside table next to me.
Okay, right.
So, but you have to keep it on. So the first night I didn't realise quite how to, I had my phone on loud, which then woke me up 2 or 3 times. So we discounted that, started again the next night.
Right.
With it working properly. So I've got a report here. I mean, we'll just use yesterday's as an example because it's a really good example of a decent amount of sleep.
Okay. But
very poor quality sleep.
Right.
So it gives you points, plus points or minus points for when you do well, when you do bad, and every single one is in a minus by the looks of it.
Oh, bad report, right.
Waking up too often, 6 times. Went to sleep too late, 4 times.
Do you remember waking up 6 times?
Not at all.
No,
not at all. Restlessness. Now, I can't say these words here. What do you make of the top 2 there?
My eyesight's really bad. Tachypnea is breathing fast. Bradypnea is breathing slowly. And then restlessness, sleep late, sleep cycle.
The bottom one here, I think, is the really interesting one. It's the worst score, which is total percentage of deep sleep and medium sleep is disproportionate. And I get a good telling off within the app. It gives you instructions on how to deal with some of these things. And I quite like the wording. It said the total percentage of deep sleep and medium sleep is unreasonable.
unreasonable.
Yeah.
Right.
What does that mean?
And what tips do they give you then to try and rectify that?
So very specifically on that point, it says, do not consume caffeinated beverages 6 hours before going to bed. Avoid drinking alcohol as it may inhibit your deep sleep periods. Well, this is absolutely
So
what
this
I'm
is
doing
you,
wrong.
is it?
Yeah, I mean, it couldn't
okay.
be more to the point.
But you you knew this, but this has reinforced it for you. I'm guessing you knew, like, you know if you've loads of caffeine, you're not going to have loads of alcohol, you're going to have, well, you might sleep initially with alcohol, but you'll wake up.
It sounds so silly, but until you see it in writing, you just kind of go, yeah, well, I know I shouldn't have a Diet Coke at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't. You know, if I've gone for a beer after work or I've been at a show and I have a beer, you're going to think, that's all right. You know, I'll be in bed an hour, but you don't think about the fact that is something that's going into your body and it's going to have a chemical reaction, and that reaction is not over when the beer's finished.
Yeah.
It's actually over when it starts when the beer's finished. Really.
Right. Yeah, you've got to wait a while for it to get through your system.
Absolutely. So this then goes on to give you plenty more information. Movement cycles. It showed there's humidity in the room, the temperature way hotter than you would have thought. It's 32 degrees in my room last night.
What?
Which, explains.
You must have been like completely dehydrated
So
this morning.
I'm in a block of flats.
Yeah.
And I'm in a middle flat.
Yeah.
And it's an old building with big thick walls and the insulation is amazing in my place apparently. I don't have the heating on. We'll have it in 5 a.m. till 7 to get warmed up. But 32 degrees, who knew that was happening?
Wow.
Well, so I went to one of the sleep tech companies out in San Francisco a couple of months ago, and they were saying that your bed, they call the sort of space between the sheets and the mattress the microclimate of sleep. It's very pretentious, but there you go. But they say that is like 5 to 7 degrees hotter than your room.
Okay, that
So
makes sense.
you must have been baking
Yeah.
in bed
Well,
last
even if
night.
we take that to mean that it was 27 in my room, that's still super hot. But yeah, I mean, this has genuinely made me think, wow, well, what is the cause of that? What's the root cause of this? And all of these different things, all the things on this list, something is going on, and I've been investigating all of them. I've actually not got all the way down the list. It's like, how can I affect the temperature now? That wasn't on the list before. But seeing it last night, clearly, and obviously I don't actually think the room was 32. I was 30 degrees at one point for some reason. That microclimate was. So, and what's that down to? Was it something I ate earlier on? My body processing something? I don't know. I literally don't know. So having this information has now got me in a bit of a rabbit hole. A Wikipedia click hole actually, and just going through and reading and probably making myself self-diagnosing with Barnum statements basically, but trying to avoid that.
It's a good, I suppose this is the there are so many downsides to tech, but this is one of the beauties of tech, this sort of active engagement and actually being able to make changes based on information that you've got, as opposed to saying, I don't sleep very well, I'm not going to have a pint after the concert tonight. And not really, you're just going to, it's not structured, is it?
Yeah.
What in your sort of day-to-day job as a tech journalist, are there more and more of these sleep apps? Because it's it's a huge public health problem. And one of the causes, it's quite ironic, isn't it? One of the causes of us not being able to sleep is our addiction to tech.
Yeah.
And yet here comes tech saying, we're the problem, but we're going to help solve it.
Well, I
think not all the problem, but there.
It's definitely exploded in maybe the past 5 years. Just like sleep health is just everywhere. So, can sleep make you thinner? Can sleep make you happier? Can sleep solve your depression? And everyone is just so into it. So it's a super exciting time to be kind of around sleep tech and kind of looking at it and seeing what is to be seen there.
Or what I think these, smartwatches did for exercise, really.
Exactly, yeah.
Suddenly everyone had them, and everyone was talking about steps and calories and how much, So it's good. It's a positive thing.
It is a positive. But as you mentioned before, the amount of information that you get can be overwhelming. So I think the responsibility of these tech brands, if they're going to make these apps, is to know the science and give people actionable things that they can actually say, okay, so my bedroom's too hot. Why is it so hot? Or, that's a bad example, but say my REM sleep is weak, or I'm not getting enough deep sleep. How can I improve that? Because it's one thing to say, I'm not getting enough deep sleep of a night, but what do you do about that? If you're not given the instructions to improve, then it's just meaningless information.
How did you find that when you were looking? Because you said there's like loads of stuff, and you've got so many bad points. You're still only going down the
Absolutely.
list. Is it quite user friendly?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. The information is concise and it's clear. And of course, you reading into it, and it happened to be very specific there about my the amount of sleep being good and bad and being unreasonable, in fact, and I shouldn't drink fizzy drinks or alcohol before bed. Well, I'm very prone to a Diet Coke before bed, so therefore that does fit me very well. But it's a bit of a Barnum statement, isn't it? It could there's so many reasons why that I could be awake at that time of night. Mm-hmm. So the information, I think it's a great place to start your research as to why your sleep may be bad. This will give you the tools to then go ahead and dig in and work out what it actually is. It may not give you the actual answer at first, but I think you'll find it through this. So yeah.
And are you going to work on the list one by one? So are you going to say, right, no caffeine? Or are you going to just try and eliminate a lot of things together? Or?
No, knowing me, I think that there'll be a program of getting better over time. Mm-hmm. Lots of these are lifestyle choices. Therefore, it's not just a case of saying, well, let's black out the blind and, let's turn the Wi-Fi off. There's many things that will contribute to a good night's sleep, and actually just going on these points isn't going to be enough. It's about a lifestyle change for sure.
But is this something that you would ever have thought of before, I've thought of doing?
Absolutely not. It reminds me, in fact, of people that have flown on the new Dreamliner planes and tell me they've had a fantastic night's sleep. And you realise that the research that went into how they control the cabin pressure, how they control the lighting, how they control the temperature to enable you to have a great night's sleep on a plane. I think you probably get a better night's sleep on that plane than I would in my bedroom.
How funny.
Yeah, you think actually, well, there's some really simple things you can do. Yeah.
And I mean, the thing about the temperature is really a no-brainer, isn't it?
Well, there's not a lot you can do about it, but I think for what's happening to me is that I need to have the windows open before I go to bed, mm-hmm. even if it's cold out. Let it breathe, and when the heating comes on, that will counterbalance that later on. Getting into a warm bed when it's cold in the room, that's okay. Getting into a hot bed when the room is hot, that's a problem.
Not, well, you're immediately on the back foot, aren't you, trying to sleep? What's the future in terms of sleep tech? Where are we going with this? Are we going to have a robot that, rubs our hair?
I love the idea of a robot that rubs my hair and sings me a lullaby. I think from what I've seen, it's all going to be based on our senses. I think there's the space for the sleep tech that tracks your sleep is pretty full at the moment, and there's not really that much else to be done with it. I think maybe it'll get smaller, it'll get faster, but it'll all be sort of quality of life improvements rather than like a revolution. So yeah, I think it'll be the stuff that is like actively doing stuff to help you get to sleep. Aroma is one that not many people have kind of jumped on, but I think it might not be too long before we start seeing some kind of science into aromatherapy, and I imagine someone will at some point make some sort of perfume spraying sleep device.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't surprise me really when you think about there's an amazing quantum physics documentary which was on iPlayer at one point, which explained how your sense of smell, obviously that's a chemical reaction. A smell is not a sound, it's not a sight, it's something completely different, and actually how your brain processes that information. So when you smell something familiar and you have a memory, well, actually there's nothing to suggest then that you couldn't have something which you could smell which would actually take you down a path of relaxation. Yeah, makes sense.
And into sleep.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You heard it here first.
Too right.
We patent it. I like it.
There's probably some other things that can knock you out as well. So
yeah. If you were to give somebody a tip in terms of tech and sleep, what would it be, Jack?
I would say first thing to do, get some sort of tracking app, whether it's in the bed or on your wrist or wherever. Learn about your sleep. Learn what is waking you up. And I think once you recognize that there's a problem, whether you're too hot, whether there's an alarm waking you up, whether there's a dog barking next door at a certain time, then you can start to action it, and you can bring in all this other stuff like the lights, the sounds, the dark curtains, the fancy pillows. That's stuff that's kind of tertiary. First, you need to know how you sleep.
How you sleep. What would you say? I mean, your advice to people like you who might be listening, is it, rather than doing that man thing of, ignoring it and is it
guilty?
Like have a look at how you are sleeping and work out how you can sleep a bit better?
I think my advice would be to take it seriously for a start, and actually really don't think that it's okay to sleep badly. And that's what I've been doing for a long time, and without realizing how bad it was, truly not realizing how bad it was. So I think that the things that I've really taken note of in the last couple of weeks have been the amount of light pollution in my room, and I think in London in particular, when you're renting and you've got basically a god-awful blind that doesn't cover the window properly, and street lights outside, that is obtrusive. In fact, it's incredibly difficult to sleep with those orange lights glaring in your room. Sounds, earplugs. I mean, what a revelation. Earplugs at night changed my life. So it sounds so simple.
Yeah.
But you just don't, these earplugs are in my pocket because I've been to a gig. And then I'm like, actually, I've got some. I'm going to put them in, and it's been helping me sleep better. So paying attention to what is actually going on in your room and thinking about that. I think I agree, knowing how you sleep is important, but actually you can take so many steps before you get to that point, before you've got the tracker, to combat what you're actually doing or what you're allowing to happen whilst you're in bed. So take it seriously, think about the reasons why you may be sleeping badly, and then absolutely dive in, because it's really interesting.
Thank you very much. It's been really, really interesting. Hopefully we'll all sleep tonight. We'll put all our phones and everything off. We'll have our electronics shut down, and we'll all go to sleep. Lots of interesting stuff there, and as you say, probably lots more to come in the tech field with regards to sleep. Hopefully, Gary, you will be a perfect sleeper. Maybe we'll get to speak to you again.
Well, I'm not sure I'll ever be there,
side.
But I'll certainly give it a go.
Yeah, and you seem very enthusiastic and sort of driven to cracking it, which is great.
Change is good.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much.
Thank
you. Thank you for watching the Sleep Matters podcast from Dreams. If you enjoyed it, then please press the like button below. And if you want to see more, then you can subscribe to the series.